I do want to, because there were a lot of things that were just not true, aside from just the tone and tenor and the monumental, historic, not in a good way, historic event that we just saw in the Oval Office. Caitlin, it really did seem to devolve when the vice president said to Zelensky, we just want diplomacy. And what Zelensky was trying to do was say, we had that. We had a deal with Russia. We had an agreement, the Minsk agreement, and Russia didn't abide by it. So I want some guarantees that that won't happen again. And then it devolved in a way that is really, really remarkable. The screaming, I mean, you have been with Donald Trump a lot. We have seen and heard about Trump getting upset and losing his temper. I think this is probably the first time we have seen it like this on camera. We also should say, Caitlin, that let's just be clear. I'm not saying that there wasn't genuine anger here, but he understands when the television cameras are there, as does J.D. Vance, and we can't lose sight of the performance aspect of this.
It was incredibly genuine, though. I mean, J.D. Vance said that this shouldn't be litigated in front of the press. Trump said, actually, no, it should be. I'm glad that this is happening. And, you know, the way that this built, just to give context of the 40 minutes that happened before what you just watched, the most remarkable part of this interaction was there were moments where President Zelensky would do what we saw the other European leaders do this week, where they step in to correct either on aid to Ukraine or to talk about Putin and the fact that he can't be trusted. At one point, Zelensky called him a killer and saying that there should be no compromises with him. And the U.S. officials were sitting there just kind of listening to this. And it was at that point, though, where Vice President Vance stepped in. Trump was silent at the beginning of that, and then Trump also got involved. And then they were just essentially yelling at one another in this. And with Trump, all of his diplomacy, we know, is personal. That's why the world leaders who have come here this week have tried to flatter him to essentially get what they want when it comes to negotiating the end of this. And that was not what we just saw, the tack that Zelensky took here. He was, as Zelensky typically is, straightforward in his opinions and what is the reality on the ground. It was kind of chastising Vice President Vance for not having come to Ukraine. And at one point earlier, when Trump was asked if he would go to Ukraine, Zelensky was saying that was what he was going to ask Trump as well. He's been very, he's emphasized a lot that he thinks these U.S. officials need to be there. But to give you a sense of how this negotiation is going, right now they are meeting behind closed doors. They're supposed to come out for a press conference any minute now, and that's where they're signing that minerals agreement that they've been touting as a big first step here. There are real questions about what this looks like going forward, because you heard what President Trump said to me there at the end. I asked, can the two of you still go in a room and negotiate after what just happened? And he said, we'll see, essentially. And Dana, there was one moment where I looked around the room at the officials who were there. It's the top Ukrainian advisors, the Secretary of State to President Trump, the Treasury Secretary, Vice President Vance, obviously. The Ukrainian ambassador to the United States had her head buried in her hands as this shouting match was going on between the three of them.
Yes, I saw you put that on social media. It is one of the many. There you go. We're putting it up on the screen now. That is the Ukrainian ambassador, as you said, and she, I mean, talk about her worst nightmare. She was literally watching it unfold before her eyes in the Oval Office.